Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Very interesting 8-game slate. You know, this is my sweet spot. This is where I normally thrive. Had a fairly decent night in the sweatshop. Doubled my buy-in. Was looking for a lot more. Had no late night hammer, and kind of let some news that jumped in right before lock kind of tinker with my lineups and take me just a bit too far off of my core. We're going to talk about that later as the show goes on. But first, I want to highlight a couple of guys in the DFS sweatshop and crown them the kings of tonight's sweatshop. We've got Alec Gomez. Dude went out and put up 331 DraftKings points, took down first place in a tournament. Alec Gomez, salute. One of the kings, keeping it way more than 300. The next guy is Guru's 27. Dude was in second place, taking 15 grand. That is the second guy in a week's time that won one of those second places and get 15 grand from fucking with the DFS sweatshop. The only common denominator between these two guys is here. So shout out to Alec Gomez, who took down first place, and my homeboy Guru's 27, who took second place in the larger tournament and walked away with a clean $15,000 fucking with the DFS sweatshop. Don't be afraid to tip your waiter, right? Now, we're going to go with our regular formatting of the show. I'm going to talk a little bit about my core four, who played excellently tonight. And the reason why I do this, and I explain this just about every show, is because I want that transparency. I want to be as transparent as Caitlyn Jenner. Get it? Transparent? 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 Okay, cool. So, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and jump into it. And we were looking for 155.4 DraftKings points from my core four in order for them to meet that 6x value. What we got was 157.5 DraftKings points. So we finished plus 2.1 when it came to beating 6x value. Let's go ahead and talk about them. We started out with Devin Booker. Now, I knew Devin Booker was going to be a good play. And I hate to say no. I didn't know. I don't know shit. I don't know shit. I assumed he would be a really good play because we can always target the wing side when it comes to the Houston Rockets. We know James Harden plays that Olay defense. Trevor Ariza is a fairly good defensive player, but I thought we would see him a lot more matched up against James Harden, Devin Booker, that is, than we would see with Trevor Ariza, and that was the case. And Devin Booker at 5.9K scored 46.5 DraftKings points at 15% ownership. Very nice play there. Got more than that 6x value we were looking for. The next guy we're going to talk about is a guy who I was highly on. This was probably my favorite play when it came to the core four. And I could tell you, oh, the guy that scored the most points in the core four was my favorite play. But that's just not the truth. My favorite play was the guy that actually scored the least amount of points. And it was ravishing Rick Rubio. I loved him in this matchup. I thought it would be an easy double-double for him. And I thought that maybe he would be in the realm of possibility of achieving that triple-double, really taking him up the ladder. So Rick Rubio at 5.8K in salary scored 30.25 DraftKings points and was at 15% owned. So the fact that he didn't go ham didn't hurt us because we only invested 5.8K in that roster slot. So it wasn't a bad showing from him at all. As a matter of fact, it said that he played pretty well on DraftKings. However, we want to see 6x value. Next time you roster you, Rick, get it up a little bit. The next play we're going to talk about is a play that I liked, not as much as Rubio, but I was really high on this pick because I didn't think that we would see a great game from Giannis, but I knew somebody had to keep the Milwaukee Bucks in that game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, especially once we knew that LeBron was going to be playing. Now, I was very high on Parker for the simple fact that we thought we wasn't going to see LeBron. Maybe we wouldn't see Kyrie. We knew at some point that we wouldn't see Kevin Love. So I was ultra high on Jabari Parker in this spot. And at 6.6K, he scored 34.75 DraftKings points at 12.7% owned, just shy under that 6x value, but the other guys kind of made up for that, or actually more than made up for that. The last play to kind of round out the core four was somebody who I thought was going to be in a nice bounce back situation playing up against the Sacramento Kings, and that was Gordon Hayward at 7.6K. He scored 46 DraftKings points at 18% owned. The ownership was just a little higher on him than I thought it would be, so it turns out a lot of other guys are sharp too, but this core four was excellent. If you started this core four and you mixed and matched and created a few different lineups, I'm sure that they helped you get to the cash line. Pretty good showing from the core four. Now, we're going to get into the feature four players of the night. These are the most talked about, tweeted about guys in the DFS sweatshop for some good and some bad reasons. We're going to start with the Who Dat scoring all them points over there, player of the night, and that goes to none other than Malcolm Brogdon. At 3.1K, he goes out and brings you back 33.75 DraftKings points, 2.9% owned. I know if you had him, you were a part of those guys standing in the winner's circle, as he was a part of my very best DraftKings lineup. The next guy we're going to talk about is the how did I miss that play tonight? This is a guy who was on your mind at some point during the day. You thought he was in line, kind of due to have a pretty decent game, coming off of an injury, and we knew at this point he was fairly healthy. He would be going up against a team that's kind of suspect at rebounding with Kevin Love out. So this play goes to Taj Gibson at 4.9K. He scored 40.25 DraftKings points at only 10% ownership. So that was a very nice play if you had Taj Gibson. How did I miss that? The next play we're going to talk about is the heat check player tonight. And this could only go to one guy, man. Anthony Davis went out at 10.9K, scored 62.75 DraftKings points at 14% ownership. Very nice game from him. We highlighted him last night in last night's show, and I just felt like out of all the guys that were that high in price, out of Westbrook and Harden, and I thought AD would be the only guy priced up above 10K that was going to return value for us, and that definitely was the case last night. Now, we've approached a time in the show where we got to talk about that one motherfucker. And this is kind of crazy because it goes to show you how the NBA can flip-flop from game to game. This is a motherfucker who was a hero last night. Put up probably the third highest amount of DraftKings points that I've seen so far in all of my days of DFS. But tonight, you a motherfucking snowflake. And this is going out to you, Boogie. DeMarcus Cousins tonight with your snowflake ass. You went out and you let Rudy Gobert upstage you, show you up, and beat you down. Blocking your shots, just doing you dirty. You cry and you flop around, act like a little bitch. Play fucking ball, bruh. Just play ball. Quit that crying. And all that dancing around the three-point line and shit, you can't do that every night. You hit 5 threes last night. What the fuck you expect? You ain't a three-point shooter. Get your ass down there and bang. And quit crying. Acting like a little bitch. Little snowflake ass. I hope you see this too. 270 pounds and you shooting jumpers. Get your ass down there and bang. Oh, was you scared? Because Rudy Gobert already said he's the best center in the league. Well, you helped this case tonight with your old snowflake ass. Boogie, tonight, you a motherfucking snowflake. And I ain't gonna roster your ass again tonight. Until you get in one of them juicy matchups. And you're in the late game. And I think the ownership gonna be low on you just because you're playing so late. I'm gonna give you another shot. Let's go and move on with the rest of the show. Now, what we do at this point is I'm going to be letting you inside and showing you my very best DraftKings lineup. And, you know, like I always say, the reason for this is just to develop that integrity from me to you, where you know that the same guys that I'm talking about are the same guys I'm playing. And I actually had a little issue on the in the comments, on the YouTube comments the other night, or excuse me, earlier today, where guys like, well, I don't mean to offend you or anything. No offense, but you said that you didn't like Isaiah Thomas, but you showed him in one of your lineups and you played him. Bruh. First things first, a lot of times we hedge plays. As DFS players, I know that I'm not going to be 100% correct. So if I kind of don't like a guy a lot, but I think he still might be able to play well, I'm going to throw him in a lineup or two. Now, in the 100 entries that I had the other night, where most of them had Avery Bradley in, who I was pretty high on, I did get a couple lineups, well, one lineup that I entered in 3 tournaments that had Isaiah Thomas. And I never said I didn't like Isaiah Thomas. I said I liked Avery Bradley more. So there's that. That's all I got. That's all I got. I don't have the shit that the big sites say. All I have is my word. And I promise you, the same guys I'm talking about are the same guys that I'm playing. So let's go ahead and jump into my very best DraftKings lineup. I'm going to pull that up to you. And this is just to show you, man, if you did use the core 4 and you got them in your lineups, I knew you had some pretty good lineups there tonight. All right. This is my very best DraftKings lineup. I'm going to show it to you now. I did finish in the 300 club on a couple, but this was only entered in one lineup. It was a 300. It was a 20K 3-entry max lineup, and this was a pretty good line right here. Now I'm going to show you how this started out as a core 4 lineup. Of course, we had Ricky Rubio here at he had 30.25 DraftKings points. Now, when this lineup first started, I had the complete core 4 in there. I had Jabari Parker, I had Ricky Rubio, I had Devin Booker, and I had, of course, Gordon Hayward. Well, you can see a name on this list that was not even on my radar. Two, actually, that weren't even on my radar. I mean, I kind of liked one of them. I did mention John Wall and talked about him being, that type of athlete that is kind of matchup proof and you can start him under any circumstances. But I really didn't like him like that. And he was at 5% owned. John Wall was. Now, LeBron James was somebody who I had no intention of rostering. We all thought that he was going to be sitting out. So when I moved off of Gordon Hayward to get LeBron James, I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and throw Joe Ingles in that spot. And after I had LeBron James, that enabled me to pay up some more to get Anthony Davis. Now, at that point, I needed a shooting guard, and I needed a center and a guard. So I said, you know what? I'm going to make this a true stars and scrubs lineup. I went ahead, paid up again for John Wall, and inserted Malcolm Brogdon, Joe Ingles, of course, and Alex Len into this lineup. This was my best DK lineup. It ended up finishing with 310 fantasy points, a very good showing there in that lineup. Now, let's go ahead and jump into a quick recap of last night's games. And we do this because, unless we know where we've been exactly, it's going to be hard to know where we're going. And I know a lot of you, you're busy with work or with school or with your wife and kids, stuff like that. So it's really hard for you to watch every NBA game. Well, this is what I'm here for. I watch every NBA game, like without exception. I watch every NBA game. Either I split the screen and watch 4 of them at a time on League Pass, or I watch the condensed versions, and that's why my videos come out so late, because I'm still up watching that game film because I want to be familiar with every guy, every NBA roster. That's where I want to be. That's what helps make me a profitable DFS player, and I can tell you, League Pass is the way to go. However, there are many other areas where you can go. They got this shit called Reddit. Now, I ain't never been on there, but I heard that if you go on Reddit, and you know what? I can't even tell you to go on Reddit. Don't go on Reddit. Don't go on Reddit and watch games for free. Just pay for League Pass like I do, right? So let's go ahead and jump into a quick recap of last night's games. Remember, we had 8 games on the slate. This is normally my sweet spot where I 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, 10 times, 100 times, sometimes my buy-in. But that wasn't in the cards tonight. Still had a profitable evening. Let's jump into the first game. This is the Cleveland Cavaliers at home against the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, we didn't see Kevin Love in this game. We knew that he was going to be out. But on the Milwaukee side, Giannis Antetokounmpo had a pretty decent game. 28 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. Didn't really hit that 6x value that you were looking for, but pretty good game nonetheless. Jabari Parker, who we talked about already. Now, he did have a nice scoring game. He scored 27 points, but he could not do anything in the realm of peripherals. 1 rebound, 2 assists, and 1 block. Not a great game from him on the counting stack side. So that was Jabari Parker's night. We saw a bad game from John Henson, 4 points and 8 boards to go with 1 assist and 2 blocks. And he was pretty much manhandled by Tristan Thompson. They came out and really wanted to play from the inside out. The Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm talking about. The we saw, of course, that good game we saw from Malcolm Brogdon. He had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals. Nice game from him. Dellavedova got his ring and didn't get shit else. I'm talking 2 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Not a good game from him. We really didn't see anything too much to speak of on the Milwaukee side. And looking at the stat line, I don't know how it totaled up to be 102 points. I mean, bad game from most of the Milwaukee Bucks. On the Cleveland side, we saw a pretty decent game from LeBron James. Not that 6-7x value that we really thought we could get from him. He scored 29 points and had 6 assists with 9 boards. Pretty decent game there for him. Richard Jefferson scored 10 points and had 4 assists in his 31 minutes and also had a block to go with that. And Tristan Thompson, man, he played a really good game defensively. Didn't score very much. He had 5 points and 15 boards to go with 1 assist and 4 blocks. But Kyrie Irving was the actual story of this game. This dude had 13 dimes, 6 boards, and 31 points to go with a steal in his 34 minutes. Nice game we saw from Kyrie Irving. If you took a shot on Iman Shumpert, that 6-man coming off of the bench, he had 10 points, 3 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block in his 29 minutes. So that was a very decent showing for him. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Atlanta Hawks at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I had a Minnesota Timberwolves stack that I really was happy about going in, but wasn't a very good showing from Andrew Wiggins. In his 38 minutes, he had 19.7 boards, 2 assists, and 1 block. Gorgie Jang actually played a fairly decent game, 12 points, 9 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 3 blocks. And we saw 17 and 18 to go with 5 assists and 1 block from Karl Anthony Towns in 37 minutes. Zach LaVine in his 38 minutes had 18 and 4 to go with 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. And we also saw that pretty decent game from Rick Rubio. He had 10 points, 5 rebounds, fell 2 assists shy of that double-double with 8, and had 2 steals to go with all of that in 33 minutes. On the Atlanta side, nice game from Paul Millsap. He flirted with a triple-double. He had 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists to go with 2 steals. We also saw a fairly decent game, but not an explosion like we thought we were going to see against Ricky Rubio for Dennis Schroeder. He had 21 and 1 rebound to go with 7 assists. Nice game we saw from Mike Muscala off of the bench. He had 16 and 4 to go with a steal in his 30 minutes. And it looked for a moment like Kent Bazemore was going to not be dead to me, but he still is. He had 9 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 4 blocks. Pretty okay game for him. And Thabo Sefolosha had 4 and 6 rebounds to go with 1 assist and 4 steals. But probably the greatest value play from this game was Kyle Korver. In 32 minutes, he had 10 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 blocks. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Detroit Pistons against the Memphis Grizzlies. And this just in, Detroit Pistons are a bad team. This is a bad team. This team is in shambles. It's in disarray. This is crazy because there's a lot of talent on this team, and they're just not performing well. And I talked a lot about how I liked Reggie Jackson. I thought we were going to see a nice Reggie Jackson game. We did see kind of one of those tonight. In 25 minutes, he had 18 points, 1 rebound, and 7 assists. And at one point on social media, it was rumored that he wasn't even playing, but he was on the floor scoring points. Probably the best play from this game was going to be John Lure. In his 29 minutes, he had 18 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block off the bench. Marcus Morris had 12 and 5, not a good game from him. And Tobias Harris only scored 7 points and had 6 boards to go with 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block in 27 minutes. Not a great game from him. KCP is back down to earth, and I can guarantee you pretty soon he is going to erupt again for a string of good games. That's what KCP does. He gives you 3 or 4 stinkers, 2 or 3 great games, stinkers, a couple great games. That's just what he does. He's one of those more streaky players in the league. And Stan Van Gundy still loves this dude. In 31 minutes, he had 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. Not a great game from him at all. On the Memphis Grizzlies side of the ball, we saw Chandler Parsons start after a long period out with injury, and he only had 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists in 15 minutes. That's kind of encouraging that he did play for 15 minutes, but not a great game at all for those few minutes he did play. Marc Gasol was the story of this game. In 37 minutes, he had 38 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Excellent game from him. We saw Mike Conley for 23 minutes, and he still seems hobbled, man. He had 9 points, 5 boards, and 4 assists to go with 2 steals. Not a good game from him. Jermichael Green got into the action in 27 minutes and was 1 rebound shy of that double-double bonus. He had 10 points, 9 boards, and 2 assists. Not a great game. We saw off the bench for Zach Randolph. Zebo in 19 minutes had 6 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, and 1 steal. Kind of bad for him. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Chicago Bulls at home against the Washington Wizards. We're going to start with the Washington side of the ball, where Otto Porter stank up the joint for 12 minutes. He had 8 points, 2 boards, and 1 assist. I don't know how he fell so far out of favor in the rotation, but, man, we're seeing an increase in minutes for Kelly Oubre Jr., man. He had 22 minutes and didn't do shit with him. 4 points and 5 rebounds to go with 1 steal. Markieff Morris started off very flaky early in the game, but he got the ship right in the second half and finished with a respectable 8 points and 11 boards to go with 2 assists. We saw a nice game from Martin Gortat, 14 and 11 to go with 2 assists and 2 blocks. Brad Beal chipped in 21 in his 36 minutes to go with 5 assists and 2 steals. And John Wall was heating up. He was definitely heating up. And at 5% owned, man, if you tell me I got John Wall at 5% owned, no matter who they're against, I like it. And he did have a decent game, scored 23 points, had 6 rebounds, 9 assists, so he was 1 shy at double-double and had 3 steals. On the Chicago side of the ball, there was not a lot that I really liked, but we talked about Taj Gibson already. In his 33 minutes, he has 17 and 11 to go with 2 assists and 3 blocks, and he's going to do that from time to time. That is just Taj Gibson. It's hard to gauge when he's going to go off, but when he does, he has really good games. Jimmy Butler played 38 minutes and had 20 and 11 to go with 5 assists. Pretty decent game from him. And we also saw not a bad game from Dwayne Wade. 19 and 3 to go with 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. And Rajon Rondo stank up the joint. Even though he had 10 assists and he had 6 rebounds and 3 points, that's it for him. Dougie McBuckets came in for 25 minutes and had 10 points and 3 rebounds to go with 2 assists. And Nick Mirotic was like a deal going on today. Everybody was like, yeah, I like Mirotic. I like Mirotic. And I mean, he had a decent game, but he didn't do, he didn't crush it for you. In 21 minutes, he had 11 points and 6 boards to go with 1 block. Not a great game, but not a horrible game either. The next game I'm going to talk about is the New Orleans Pelicans at home against the Oklahoma City Thunder. AD, man, the heat check player tonight, he really had a great game. But we're going to start on the Oklahoma City side of the ball, where we saw Russell Westbrook almost get a big triple-double. I'm talking 42 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists to go with 1 steal. Nice game from him. Enes Kanter was a very good play today. He was actually in the run to be the Who Dat player tonight. He had 14 points and 14 rebounds in 34 minutes to go with an assist and 2 blocks. Steven Adams, not a good game from him. In 23 minutes, he had 12 and 4 to go with 3 assists and 1 block. And we also saw Alex Abrines, man. This dude, in 29 minutes, he had 18 points to go with 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal at minimum salary. That was a steal. They also had another guy at minimum salary that turned out a really nice performance, Geoffrey Lavernier. In 25 minutes, he had 10 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Nice game from him. On the New Orleans Pelicans side, Anthony Davis, man, he check player tonight, 15 boards, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 2 assists, and 34 points in 35 minutes. And he played almost the entire fourth quarter with 5 fouls. That dude is good, man. Anthony Davis is good. We saw a nice game from Drew Holiday as well. 23 points to go with 10 assists. So we did hit that double-double bonus. Had 4 rebounds and 1 steal to go along with that. The only other guy that's worth mentioning was Terrence Jones. He played 33 minutes and had 21 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block. On the next game we're going to talk about is the Utah Jazz at home against the Sacramento Kings. This was probably the most entertaining game of the night because it was the closest and because Boogie got shut up. Like, Boogie definitely got shut up. Not a good game from him. He had 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists to go at 1 block. Was totally outdone by Rudy Gobert. Didn't see much else from anyone else except Ty Lawson. In his 25 minutes, he had 19 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. And this is the crazy thing because while Ty Lawson was starting and we were waiting on Darren Collison, who likes to hit the chicks, we were waiting on him to come off of the bench. We were like, God, I wish you would get Ty Lawson out of this game. Ty Lawson is a bum. I hate Ty Lawson. Come on, man. Please give Darren Collison more minutes. So Darren Collison is starting, and he is stinking up the joint, bro. This dude is fucking shit right now. 22 minutes, 8 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Not a good game from him at all. I know it was up against a really good perimeter defense in the Utah Jazz, but still, bro. 8 points? And this ain't the first time he's done that. Like, this dude has been playing shitty lately. So going over to Ty Lawson, he had 19 and 5 to go with 1 assist and 1 steal. Pretty decent game from him. Now, we still did not see Rudy Gay. It was more of a coach's decision rather than an injury. He's still kind of rehabbing from that. So we can look forward to seeing him maybe the next time out. Not a good game from anyone else from the Sacramento Kings side. On the Utah side, this is where one of our core 4 members was. Gordon Hayward, man, nice game from him in 39 minutes. He had 28 points, 10 boards, and 3 assists. Good game from him. Rudy Gobert dropped 17 on Boogie and also pulled down 14 boards, blocked 3 shots, and had 2 steals and 1 assist. Joel Ingles, he did make value. Pretty nice game from him. He had 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists to go with 2 steals. Right around minimum salary. He was 3.3. Like, you had to start him at that price point. I believe he was the highest owned player on the slate. Shelvin Mack in his 34 minutes had 13 and 3 to go with 2 assists. Now, we didn't see Dante Exum. He has left knee tendonitis. We didn't see Rodney Hood. He has flu-like symptoms, which means he has the shits. He can't control his asshole. And Jeff Withey was a coach's decision, did not play. Didn't see much else on the Utah side. Didn't need to see much else, as they did lose the game by 1 point to the Sacramento Kings. The next game on the slate is going to be the Phoenix Suns at home against the Houston Rockets. Now, for a moment, this looked like it was going to be a game. It really did. Let me take a sip of the crowd. We thought that we were going to see a game for a moment, but the Houston Rockets, like they always do, shooting all them threes. They shot twice as many threes as the Phoenix Suns did, and they pulled away from them late in the third, early in the fourth quarter. So, starting on the Houston side, Trevor Ariza, not a good game from him. He did play 34 minutes and had 3 rebounds, 10 points, 1 assist, and 2 steals. Ryan Anderson chipped in 15 to go with 5 boards and a block. Nice game from Patrick Beverly. This dude almost had another triple-double. This dude, he's been getting close to a triple-double a lot this year. And Mike D'Antoni's offense, this dude is like a really good play, night in and night out. And we got to get on him before the price creeps up. In 33 minutes, he had 18 points, 9 boards, 9 assists, and 1 block. James Harden had 27 and 14 assists to go with 5 rebounds and 1 steal. And Eric Gordon, off of the bench in 27 minutes, had 24 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal. Pretty nice game from him. Montrezl Harrell did start the game, and he had 17 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks. Pretty decent game from him. The last game on the slate is going to be the Portland Trailblazers at home against the Dallas Mavericks. We saw a really nice game from Darren Williams, man. 23 points, 5 boards, 5 assists in 31 minutes. The old man can still ball. Harrison Barnes dropped 28 to go with 7 rebounds in his 36 minutes. And Wesley Matthews led the team in minutes. He played 40 of them and had 16 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, and 3 steals. Pretty nice game from him. Not much else we saw from the Dallas side, but on the Portland side, this game was like they were getting blowed. And then all of a sudden, man, Lillard just went off. He had 29 points to go at 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal. Not the value you were looking for, but he definitely tried to redeem himself for that lackluster performance in the first half. C.J. McCollum was a dud, man. 41 minutes, led the team in minutes, and had 13 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks. Mason Plumlee, in his 28 minutes, had 10 points, 7 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. We also saw Ed Davis for 18 minutes, grabbed 10 boards and scored 6 points. And Alan Crabb had 14 and 6 to go with an assist. We did not see Myers Leonard. He didn't play due to coach's decision. We didn't see Noah Vonleh. He didn't play. We didn't see Pat Connaughton, Layman. None of those guys didn't play. And Evan Turner was actually out of this game due to an injury. Now that we have recapped last night's games, let's go ahead and jump into a quick player pool review. Remember, it's a 5-game slate tomorrow. I cannot stress to you enough. The mode tomorrow is stack. And once we look at the player pool and see what the guys' prices are at, then we're going to pair that with what we find in our point total review, and we're going to decide which games that we're going to invest the most in. And what we're looking for in these games, we're looking for the highest point total. We're looking for the lowest point differential. We are looking for the most guys that we could get in one lineup and still be able to pay up for a one-off stud on another team. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We are going to start with now this is going to be a really nice 5-game slate tomorrow. There's going to be it's going to be a really nice 5-game slate. We can see that on the outset. We've got the most expensive guy on the slate is probably going to be in a blowout of sorts with the LA Clippers at home against the San Antonio Spurs. Now, this is going to be a really good game. We got Chris Paul at 9.4K. Now, just because he's playing against the Spurs, I am sure the ownership will not be as high on Chris Paul as it should be. I love it tomorrow. I love Chris Paul tomorrow. A competitive game against the San Antonio Spurs. Whatever edge the Spurs have by just being the Spurs and being a Popovich coach team, they kind of lose a little bit of that by being away from home and being in LA taking on the Clippers without Blake Griffin, so that causes Chris Paul's usage to go up some. I love Chris Paul tomorrow at 9.4K. We've got Hassan Whiteside at 9.2. He's the second most expensive guy on the slate going up against the LA Lakers, so you know that's in play. That's going to be the chalk. That's going to be the chalk. You've got Kevin Durant against the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are at home. This team is scrappy, but they ain't scrappy enough. It doesn't matter. This is going to be a blowout. I will not roster Kevin Durant tomorrow. Well, maybe I'll take that back. I would stack it. He wouldn't be the one-off guy. I would try to get a bunch of Golden State points and then get a cheaper one-off guy. But if I'm stacking a team already, let's say I'm stacking somebody and I got enough for Kevin Durant, I'm not going to go pay up for Kevin Durant because he's probably not going to play 4 quarters in this game. They're going to blow the doors off of the Brooklyn Nets. Blake Griffin, as you can see, we already know he's out. Steph Curry at 8.1. To me, he is in play to me. Steph Curry is definitely in play to me. Isaiah Thomas at 8K. He's in play against Indiana. I like that play. Paul George is in play for me against Jay Crowder. Now, I don't like him as much as a one-off, but him being a part of the Indiana stack, I think is going to be a good way to go. Draymond Green at 7.8. That price is very low on him. I like that. That's a low price for a guy that can do what Draymond can do, especially in a blowout where they're going to take maybe Kevin Durant off of the floor. We're going to see extended run for him and probably Klay Thompson. Kawhi Leonard at 7.8. That can be a decent play. That can definitely be a decent play. He's going to see Luke Mamute, who is a pretty decent defender, but I think this game is going to be so close that this is where we're going to stack. This San Antonio LA Clipper game, there's going to be some stacks in there, I believe. Carmelo Anthony at 7.7K against Orlando is definitely in play. Porzingis at 7.6 is in play. Goran Dragic against the Lakers. Now, we just saw what my boy Kemba was able to do to the Lakers in Charlotte. The Lakers are again on that road swing going to Miami. So Goran Dragic is definitely in play. And it's going to be very popular to see Goran Dragic paired with Hassan Whiteside. Another little quick bit is I was on Justice Winslow the other day, and a lot of times, man, you're on these guys for a reason. You have that feeling. And I think that if I'm going to be stacking Miami in any way, shape, or form, I'm going to get a piece of Justice Winslow too. He owes me money. You don't have to do it, but that's just me. He owes me money. We've got Jeff Teague, who is superiorly in play against the Boston backcourt. I like him tomorrow, especially Indiana's looking like a really safe team to stack because none of their salaries are 9, 10K. They're all like mid-level guys, and you could still stack 3 or 4 of them and get a one-off, a high-priced one-off like a Chris Paul or something in your lineup too. Or even like a Kawhi Leonard can be in your lineup after you stack the Indiana side. DeAndre Jordan at 6.9. He is definitely in play, especially if you're going to pair him with Chris Paul. Al Horford, I like him at 6.8. Brook Lopez is a no for me because we know Golden State takes the centers off of the court. Miles Turner is in play, especially if you're going to be stacking. We love to attack Boston in the front court when it comes to their rebounding. So we definitely like Miles Turner tomorrow. Klay Thompson can be a decent play at 6.5 because he will get blowout run. Him and Draymond will get blowout run. Nick Vucevic against my Knicks is definitely in play at 6.4, although I don't know how I feel about an Orlando stack. Vucevic might be a nice mid-level one-off play. I don't know about stacking Orlando tomorrow, especially against the New York Knicks at home. The next play Aldridge at 6.4. I don't like that very much, but he's in plays in a stack format. Derrick Rose at 6.3. No, thank you. Avery Bradley at 6.1 against Indiana. He is definitely in play. He's going to see if they do start Glenn Robinson third, he'll eat him up. He'll definitely eat him up. Evan Fournier at 6K. No, thank you. Serge Ibaka at 5.9 is not something I'm interested in. Julius Randle at 5.8. I'm definitely not interested in Julius Randle. Jeremy Lin at 5.7 is in play as a cheap one-off point guard. We're not going to be stacking Brooklyn, but Jeremy Lin is definitely in play tomorrow. Paul Gasol at 5.7 is in play because the price is so cheap, and against DeAndre Jordan, who is, a athletic freak who goes for every head fake. He just jumps around. Like, you can easily get him off of his feet, and I think we're going to see some of that from Paul Gasol, as well as taking him out a little bit, shooting that jump shot, which will probably create more rebounds for LaMarcus Aldridge and or Kawhi Leonard. So Paul Gasol, if you're stacking San Antonio, he should definitely be a part of your stacks. Trevor Booker at 5.6. This is a good play, but not for me. I'm not going to go one off with Trevor Booker. Lou Williams at 5.6, no thank you. Dion Waiters is going to be out. Elfrid Payton at 5.6, and I think he's in play against the New York Knicks. Now, I don't know about stacking Orlando, so to speak, but Elfrid Payton and Vucevic are in play for me because they're going to see a lot of second-team defense when it comes to the Knicks, and I think that's going to be pretty much a decent play. Tyler Johnson, he had an awesome game out, so I think his ownership is going to be a little higher than it should be. I probably have him in a lineup or two if I'm stacking Miami. Like, we look at a four-man stack, we go Tyler Johnson, Justice Winslow, Gordon Dragic, and Whiteside. That's very cheap. That will afford you to get Chris Paul. You can stack that and still get Chris Paul. Thaddeus Young at 5.4 is in play for me, definitely, either as a one-off or in that Indiana stack. And there's a few different ways we can stack. We can game stack or we can team stack. I'm going to do a little bit of both. We're going to talk about that when we get to the point totals. See, this is that shit they're not giving you. They're not giving you this shit, bro. The cat from the bigger sites, he released on the last 5-game slate. This man released an article saying that the key to winning on these short 5-gamers is to establish a core of 5 players from different teams. And you use those guys to work together and you have them in each of your life. And that's bullshit. You can't tell that to nobody who in the sweatshop. We know we either we team stack or we game stacking. That's the best way to get to it. And that's what we're going to do. Jordan Clarkson at 5K. I'm not on that. Look at Justice Winslow. There's a matchup on him. 5.1. Now, he's going to be matched up against either the oldest motherfucker in the world, in Luol Deng, or a young pump in Brandon Ingram. Either way, I think Justice Winslow can win this matchup. And he owes me money because he was supposed to play well last time, but Tyler Johnson did. I like Justice Winslow again tomorrow. Jordan Clarkson, we talked about him. No, thank you. Josh Richardson is definitely going to be in play because we have to roster so many spots. We got to find that hidden gem on every team. So he's definitely in play. JJ Redick, after that hot shooting performance he had, he's going to see a lot of JJ Redick's going to see a lot of Danny Green. And there's one thing about Popovich. This dude is not an idiot. This is a great coach. And if JJ Redick just went out, understanding tendencies and streaks, if JJ Redick just went out and dropped 37 points and hit like 7 threes in the first half of one game, do you think that Pop is going to let this dude just go crazy and just shoot all kind of shit? No, he's going to have a body on JJ Redick, so I do not like him tomorrow, even though the DBP says he's this is a 23rd ranked team against shooting guards. Luol Deng at 4.6. He is a crafty veteran, but I will not have any of him tomorrow. Brandon Jennings is a no for me at 4.6 because guess what? Orlando is really good against point guard. You see that first rank DVP? They had to show me, but they're really good against point guards. Sean Kilpatrick at 4.5 is a no. Aaron Gordon at 4.5. I like him tomorrow. Bojan Bogdanovic at 4.4. No. Nick Young, Swaggy P. No. Bismack Biyombo at 4.3 is somebody to look at because you can attack the Knicks rebounding the ball. You can definitely do that. Joakim Noah at 4.1. That is a very cheap play, and it's a play that I kind of like. I kind of like that play tomorrow at 4.1. We saw an increase in minutes for Joakim Noah last time out. I kind of like that. CJ Miles, if you're stacking Indiana and trying to go deep, a little deeper than the starting lineup, and you want that guy for the bench because you don't want to start Glenn Robinson III, CJ Miles is definitely an option with Rodney Stuckey out. Kylo Quinn at 4K is a no. Marcus Smart at 4K. That's the play that's in play. Marcus Smart here. I kind of like that. Monte Ellis is out. Patty Mills is not in play for me. Mo Buckets, no, I don't like him. Wayne Ellington, Brandon Ingram, definitely not. Tony Parker, if he starts, he is in play at 3.9, but I won't have very much of him. If you think that this game is going to get out of hand, which I think this game could, the Clippers could blow them out at home. It could happen. It could happen. At 3.9K, I think Austin Rivers does deserve consideration, and we need to know if Pop's going to be playing everybody. Because if anybody sits, like some key guys sit, this game could get out of hand. Courtney Lee at 3.8 is not in play for me. Glenn Robinson 3.8 is a no. RHJ had a really good game out last time. At 3.7, the price is still down on him. But against the Golden State Warriors, I do not like him. I'm going to stay as far away from this game as I can. Jamal Crawford is not in play for me at 3.7. Rodney Stuckey is questionable. He's probably not going to play tomorrow. Jeff Green is a no. Terry Rozier, 3.5. Man, that's considerable. Kelly Olynyk against the Indiana front court is definitely considerable at 3.5. I want no Danny Green. Joe Harris, scrub love. If you're looking for scrub love, that might be the guy to target. Joe Harris at 3.4K. Andre Iguodala as well. Scrub love here. DJ Augustine is a no. Dwayne Dedman, be on the lookout because if somebody sits, Dwayne Dedman is in line for a big run of minutes. We like him if someone sits. JaVale McGee at 3.3 is a no for me. Justin Hamilton is also another guy that could benefit from some scrub love later in the game at 3.3. Justin Holiday is a no. Luke Mbamute is a no. Mozgov, man, this dude is 3.2 all year long. And I think that would be the punt play at center. If you want to punt center, I think you can go with either of these guys, Timothy Mozgov as well as Guillermo Hernan-Gomez from the New York Knicks. Those are pretty decent punt plays. Now we know Al Jefferson, he is a point per minute monster. His per 36 is probably through the roof, but it just doesn't get a lot of minutes. So at 3.2K, he's definitely a punt play at center. Louis Scola is a no. Anthony Bennett. Now, if we didn't see, things coming back. Brook Lopez is coming back, so we're not going to see much of Anthony Bennett except in the scrub love situations. He may be in play. See, this slate goes so deep on a short slate. The 5 gamers go so deep. You've got to look deeper and look at the bench in order to get your scoring. David Lee is a no for me. Ian Clark is in play definitely at minimum salary. Listen, Ian Clark is in play at minimum salary if you're going to go somewhere in that Golden State Brooklyn game. So we've got there's a lot here. There's a lot here. And we got to get to it. Our job is to make sure that we find out who is going to be the best player. Look at Jaja at 3K. Now, if he starts and the injury concern is over for him, you've got to like him because he can score 15, 20 points in the first quarter and then come back, cycle around, and get you another 10. That could be a 25-point play. We're talking about Zaza Pachulia in that game. So there we go. Let's go ahead and jump into the point totals. This is where we find out exactly how much we want to invest in each game. Every point total on tomorrow's slate is 200 or better. So that is a good sign. We're going to see a lot of scoring tomorrow. In my opinion, let's start in Indiana, where the Boston Celtics will be traveling to take on the Pacers. Now, this is a 211-point total, with the Boston Celtics giving up 1 point to Indiana. So Indiana's going to be that home dog that we like to target. Now, I can easily target the Boston front court. This to me is not only a two-sided team stack. You could stack Boston or you could stack Indiana. This is also a game stack because none of the guys involved in this game are like overly priced. I think the highest priced guy in this complete game is probably going to be Paul George or Isaiah Thomas, one of the two. And let's look at the price of him. Okay, Isaiah Thomas is the highest priced guy in this game. So there's a chance we could really grab a hold to this Boston and Indiana game and come out smelling like a rose. I'm talking about roster a lot of these guys and still grab Chris Paul to be that late night hammer in the 10:30 game against the San Antonio Spurs. Like we can definitely do that. This is gonna be a nice slate. Somebody's gonna win some money. Somebody here that's watching this, one of you are gonna like really win some money. It might be me. Hopefully it's me and you, but we're gonna win some money tomorrow. So when it comes to the specific plays, the plays I like the most on the Indiana side are gonna be Jeff Teague, of course. I like Miles Turner to attack Boston rebounding. I love Thad Young tomorrow because he's going to be he's still down in price, and I really think that we can look to Paul George, but we don't have to. We don't have to do that. We can actually go on the other side of the ball, away from Paul George, and get more value there, which would allow us to pay up for maybe that Chris Paul, that stud we want, if you like, of course, Hassan Whiteside or somebody like that in a different spot. On the Boston side, Al Horford, he's in play to me just because the way he gets out in transition, and he doesn't play until somebody gets a rebound. Like he's like bullshitting around, blah blah blah, blah. But then when they miss a shot, and either he gets the board or somebody else gets the board, and he takes off and he flies down the court, and he's really good at moving in transition. So I do like. It's gonna be a lot of shots in this game too. It's a 211 point total. It's the highest point total. It's one of the highest point totals on the slate. When you factor in the over/under, it's actually right where we want it to be because it's 211, but the point total is only a -1, the differential. So I definitely think Al Horford is in play. Isaiah Thomas, of course, is in play against Jeff Teague defense. Avery Bradley is in play against the rookie Glenn Robinson III. We can go 4 deep easily on the Boston side, and if you didn't want to, have that much invested in the Boston starters, you could definitely hit the bench, man, and take advantage of guys like Kelly Olynyk or even Jaylen Brown, who I like more than Terry Rozier. He's going to see a fair amount of minutes off of the bench too. So this is going to be a really juicy game. This is probably my favorite game on the slate, whereas everyone else's favorite game is going to be the later game, that San Antonio and LA Clippers game. But this is my favorite game on the slate. The next game we're going to talk about is the Golden State Warriors going to Brooklyn to take on the Nets. This is a 232-point total. It is the highest total on the slate, but this game to me is a trap. This is a trap. Unless we are confident that we're going to be hitting on those value plays and scrub love, I would steer clear of this game. There is no way in hell the Brooklyn Nets keep this game close enough for us to see enough of the integral starters from the Golden State side. And I'm talking about Durant. We're not going to see a ton of Durant. He's not going to score 60 points. We're not going to see a ton of Steph Curry. They're going to hold him out in the fourth quarter. But we will see a lot of Draymond and also a lot of Klay Thompson. So I'm going to have maybe one of those guys in different one-off spots. I have Klay somewhere. I have Draymond somewhere. But I don't see myself investing very much in Curry or Kevin Durant. Now, when we look at the scrub love, we look at people like Andre Iguodala. We look at Ian Clark. I think they can be pretty decent plays in scrub love. On the Brooklyn side, I kind of want nothing to do. The only play that I could see is, well, once Golden State blows you the fuck out, then they put JaVale McGee in. They put like a regular center in. So I think then we're going to see people like Justin Hamilton. Then we're going to see Anthony Bennett. So if you think that those guys can score a lot of points deep into the third quarter, into the fourth quarter, then that's when you roster those guys. But I don't know how much exposure I'm going to have to any of them. The only other play that may be decent is Jeremy Lin. He might be able to get off real quick on Steph Curry, but I don't see him playing a ton because in a blowout, this is a guy that's just coming off of injury. I don't think they're going to have him out there down by 30, running around, still trying to score points. I don't foresee that happening. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the New York Knicks at home against the Orlando Magic. This is a 212.5 point total, with the Knicks giving up 5.5 to the Orlando Magic. Will we see another great game from Carmelo? We could, because the person that they're going to have guarding them on the Orlando side, he's going to be able to eat them up and score against them. So I don't know how I feel about rostering Carmelo tomorrow. I will probably have him as a one-off and maybe a spot or two, but I just don't see this game being like a full game stack. And maybe a mini stack with him and Porzingis would do well, but I don't know who that third guy is that I would roster, or that fourth guy is that I would roster on the New York Knicks side. On the Orlando side, same situation for them. But Elfrid Payton and Vucevic would be the two guys that I would target the most. If we wanted to look to some scrub love, we talked about the Hernan Gomez kid from the New York Knicks. Derrick Rose is probably going to play in this game, and probably not very well. So I won't have any shares of him. I don't see now. Courtney Lee is a pretty decent defender, and I don't see Evan Fournier just like going off. And Evan Fournier doesn't do much in the way of peripheral stats. He's more of a scorer. He will get a couple rebounds, maybe an assist or two. But I mean, there's too many guys on this slate that can do it all to just lock ourselves into a JJ Redick or a Evan Fournier. It's a guy who is a one-dimensional player. Let's say you got JJ Redick, you got Evan Fournier, and you got Avery Bradley. Avery Bradley can do anything. Like, he can score, he can rebound, he's a great defender. So he will be a much better play, in my opinion, than those other guys. And that's where I'm going to be targeting if I'm looking for that shooting guard in my stacks. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Miami Heat at home against the LA Lakers. This is a 208-point total. It's good to see Miami Heat in a total over 200. They do play at a very slow pace. Now, the LA Lakers are getting 4.5 points from the Miami Heat. Miami Heat is a home favorite. I instantly, automatically like Hassan Whiteside to totally manhandle and destroy this team. I think Whiteside is going to be the chalky play on the night. He's going to be somebody who everybody wants a piece of. And whenever you think that he's going to have a great game, there's a very good chance that Goran Dragic can as well. Now, with that being said, we still got Tyler Johnson. We've still got Justice Winslow, who I personally like in this game. So to me, that's a four-man stack. I'm going to have a lineup stacked with those guys. On the LA Lakers side, is not too much for me to like. Miami is a very good defensive team, especially on the perimeter. The only place I can really see that we attack them is in the post, just because, I mean, the stats would tell you, oh man, Hassan Whiteside is an awesome defender. That's because he does things like he blocks shots, he gets rebounds. But guys can score against him too. And I think Julius Randle could be in play tomorrow as a mid-level one-off guy. I'm not going to have too many other guys from the LA Lakers, but he's the only guy that I kind of would roster with enough confidence to feel comfortable rolling that lineup out there. The last game I'm going to talk into is going to be the sweet spot bread and butter game for everybody else. Everybody's going to love this game. One, because it's a late night hammer game. And number two, it's Chris Paul, no Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan's in. So those guys are definitely in play. The problem is I don't see a stack on the LA Clippers side because I'm not fucking with Mo Buckets. I'm not fucking with Jamal Crawford. The two guys that I would roster will definitely be Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan. Now, a lot of people are going to be on JJ Redick because of that game he had out last time. But I already told you, man, I'm not doing it. I'm not chasing JJ Redick for those points. He's just like Evan Fournier. They don't do anything else but shoot. They've got to hit 8 threes in order to really make value. And I'm not putting myself through that on a slate where I've got, a couple other really nice shooting guard options that I can go to first. And one of them that's cheap, that's actually around the same price, maybe a little bit more. On the San Antonio side, Kawhi Leonard is in play. This is where the stack comes in for me on the San Antonio side. If I get word that everybody's playing, we can definitely go. We can go big three on this. We can go Kawhi Leonard. We can go Aldridge, and we can go definitely Paul Gasol. Paul Gasol is a mid-level one-off that I'm probably going to have in some lineups anyway. There's some other stacks that I like, but that is what we're doing. That's the mode. Tomorrow we are going to be stacking. I will not be releasing a core 4 because I am responsible, and I do not want you to think that I'm playing a way that I'm not playing. Anytime the slate is this small, 5 games or less, I'm just stacking. I'm not beholden to any particular player in any particular circumstance. I'm just going to be stacking the offenses that I like the most, that are in the situation that I feel like it's going to net them the most points and me the most money. This has been your DFS Jerusalem. You can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. There are many ways to support the show. You are doing it right now the most purest way by giving me your views, your likes, your attention, your comments. But if you wanted to further support the show, there's a box over there, somewhere over there. It says support the show. Click that box and let that motherfucker take you wherever it needs to take you to support the show. You can also look at the bottom of the comments. There's going to be a link taking you to where you can get some of that DFS Sweatshop swag. If you're a regular member of the 300 Club, going to get you some DFS Sweatshop swag, or you can become a full-fledged member of the DFS Sweatshop by going to the website at dfssweatshop.com and registering there with your paid subscription. You will be receiving our daily newsletter, our daily rankings, our daily cheat sheets, our DVPs, our stacks when it's in order. You'll be getting my Core 4 roster building strategy, so many other things that we have for you, and you will be also with your year-long subscription, you can make your way into the Facebook VIP. Shout out to everybody over there in the VIP. Shout out to everybody out there in the Twitter world, YouTube world. This has been your DFS Jerusalem. Thank y'all. I love y'all. The number one thing we do in the sweatshop is what? Keep it